I'm a young Leo DiCaprio.
And he about blew out my right eardrum.
I think the Jets and the Buffalo Bilskis might have something to say about that.
Not too bad for a running back.
So high, it would hit a seagull, go through 3 clouds before it came down.
I'm not even going with the W. It's a W.
W. Stop it.
Right.
Stop it. I'm getting ready to dive out of that window in disappointment.
I know it's going to be a good player.
What did I say again?
Welcome
yeah,
in.
sorry, I forgot. Welcome in, I'm Glenn Martin.
I'm James Haskell.
And this is 410 Sports Talk.
Lady and gentlemen.
Lady and gentlemen. Only one lady.
Oh, God.
The rest gentlemen.
We gotta start that up. That was completely embarrassing. You can tell we're a little rusty at this point, but we're excited to come back, be in the lab, the studio.
We're back in it.
In the basement.
Here we are.
And it's official. You will see this on YouTube. That's right.
I wish I would have gotten a haircut. I mean, my profile is not what I really am looking for.
I'm really embarrassed. I'm really embarrassed by this thing right now, based on the profile. It's not my best look.
We're gonna have to set this up differently because right now you're getting a lot of stomach from the side, and look, this is the winter where I'm gonna lose a couple lbs, but we're not there yet. Okay, so they're still there. All right.
Well, everybody's a work in progress. But speaking of work in progress, this studio will be making improvements as well. So this is not very aesthetically pleasing, ladies and gentlemen.
We're working on it.
That's right. But
very soon.
We'll get
there. But we do have. Oh, you can't even see them. We do have Old Bay. Hey, that you can't even read. But they say Ravens on it. And let's see. Any of them still with the team? Nope. Super Bowl season. Not a single one is still with the team.
So we're excited for all of you future faithful YouTubers that are going to be watching our show and subscribing. So make sure to do so.
That's right.
But without talking about that anymore, what we're going to do in this episode, so it's official, Glenn. This is Season 2, Episode 1.
Wow.
We made it through Season 1, and you know what? I think we did better than I thought we were going to do. We kind of failed into something, right? Like,
I agree.
I agree.
Let's keep it going.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So let's just keep this thing going. What we're going to do in this show is, as we're getting back into it, is we're going to dedicate a portion of this, of course, to all our Ravens flock faithful fans, to the Ravens. We're going to talk about the Orioles, just a touch. We're going to talk about our Terps basketball, who's been doing really well and deserves some airtime. Because you only get airtime on this show if you deserve it.
And they certainly do.
And they do.
They're on a heater right now.
That's right. But we're also going to get into some national stuff when it comes to NFL and just sports national stuff. So we're going to be all over the place, but we're really excited about it. So let's start off Season 2 with some national sports stuff. All right?
All right.
I want to get into something that I think a lot of people are passionate about right now. I'm going to start you off like this, Glenn. The Astros are just cheaters. It is what it is. Tell me what you think about it.
Oh, they got me fired up. These idiots. I mean, look, when you get caught doing something that's obviously wrong, the only response, the only proper way to try and mend this, to kind of heal this wound is to come out and admit that you did something wrong and say you're not going to do it anymore. And somehow, even despite the fact this is a $1 billion franchise, are all sports franchises in the major ones billions now? I mean, I'm sure if he sold it, he'd get
I don't think the Cavs are $1 billion.
The Cavs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe not the Cavs.
Or like the Orlando Magic.
No, but Houston, coming off of the seasons they've had,
for sure.
They certainly, they're probably $1 billion franchise. And their owner, the top of the top, comes out and he's had all this time to think about his press conference, and he comes out and he says it is in their opinion that it didn't affect the game, that what they did not affect the game, and that they deserve their World Series trophy still. It is so ridiculous. How can you say, it's like, why are we here? If it didn't affect the game, why are we here? Why are we having this whole thing if it didn't affect? Of course it affected the game when the person knows what pitch is coming. To say that doesn't affect the game is so ridiculous. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And then the players, so then, you hear all the ridicule the owner's getting because every player seems like they're speaking out, which, by the way, I love the fact that the players are speaking out and not being hush-hush about this. I love that.
They're pissed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Yankee fan, obviously, being an Oriole, lifetime faithful fan. But what Judge was saying, how he immediately deleted the Jose Altuve congratulations tweet back when he won the MVP in 2017. I love it. I love it because he even said, and I think Stanton said the same thing, if I knew every time what pitch was coming, I'd have 80 home runs a year. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And what I loved about Judge's, I agree with you. I mean, I'm a by birth Yankee hater.
Yes.
Like, I just can't.
Right.
So, but the one thing I loved, he said, the thing that frustrates me is that as a kid, you don't think about the individual awards. You think about the opportunity to play in the World Series, and to know I was cheated out of that opportunity, my teammates were cheated out of that, is really frustrating because we don't know how many times, they don't know as professional athletes how many times they're going to be able to be in that situation again. Yep. And you cheated them out of it. You know what it makes me think of? The way that the Astros are reacting? It's like a rich kid that's born figuratively on third base, makes it home with, somebody bats him into home. He becomes a millionaire, he's born into money, and he thinks he hit a home run.
Yep.
Right? Like, look, guys, you cheated. And like you said, show some contrition, some real contrition. I don't know how they can do the whole taking away the World Series things. I don't know, or, the championships and actually, they
didn't have to take the trophy away, but the fact that all the players were granted immunity for their honesty is unbelievable. Yeah. And you know what? I'm not a Pete Rose fan. I think he's kind of a jerk, but I completely agree with him saying who is worse, what was worse for the game? What affected the game worse? Me betting on the fact that my team is going to win, or them literally stealing signs and knowing the pitch before it comes.
Right.
I mean, it's unbelievable, the fact, and the guy who has the most hits in the history of the league is not in the Hall of Fame, but yet these guys didn't get a single bit of consequence. Not one. I mean, it's unimaginable.
I think that they can take away Altuve's MVP.
They could do that.
I mean, that could be pretty easily done. Not that it would mean anything. I don't think.
Well, they took away Reggie Bush's Heisman.
Yeah, that's true.
They made him literally take that thing back.
That's true. Well, because he had like a house and a car and everything else, right?
But I mean, these guys had a systematic, from top to bottom, cheating system using high-tech camera equipment that can literally slow down frame by frame and pick up this rotation of the ball.
That's insane.
To know exactly what pitch is coming before it comes. I mean, they're using buzzers on their bat, on their bodies. I mean, it's just unreal that they come out and say that it didn't affect the game. It's unbelievable. And you know what I can't wait to see? As bad as I think this is for baseball in one sense, that this team was systematically cheating, I think it's going to draw a lot of eyes because, I'll tell you what, I want to watch their first couple games.
Yeah?
Because I want to see how many of these pitchers throw at these guys. They should be throwing. I mean, if the commissioner's not going to discipline them, we know in baseball, players take it into their own hands.
I'm not going to condone a 95-mile-an-hour fastball coming at you.
You don't have to throw it at his head, but you can throw it at his tuchus, hit him right in the old butt cheek, sting him a little bit. It ain't going to do any damage.
But you know what the crazy thing is? There are people out there in the world that are finding ways to defend the Astros. And I don't know how anyone can disagree with us at this point. But if any of you disagree with us, we want to know what's the disagreement. Let us know. Leave us a comment. Tell us what
it's like. You know what it is? It's like people who say steroids don't help because you still have to have hand-eye coordination, get the bat on the ball. It's like, yeah, but what it does is it turns a fly out into a home run. So,
and did you know that steroids also strengthen the muscles that control your reaction time?
Wow.
So your reaction time can go down.
Yeah.
So.
And what helps with a reaction time to a fastball more than the fact that you know it's coming?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that'll help you react real quick.
Yeah, no, that's insane. So I'm glad we got that off our chest. I know that you were running hot about that. I think it's
and then the guy comes
just give it to the Orioles. Just give the World Series to the Orioles that year.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, we're not getting one anytime soon.
One guy comes out there and he goes, "We're gonna just win and shut everybody up by winning." Like, dude, you still don't get it.
Right.
You don't get it. It doesn't matter what you do from now on. It does not matter. You were caught cheating.
And it's crazy. People want to see humility and contrition.
That's it.
Just give the people what they want.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the steroid users in the past. We looked at Andy Pettit, and he came out and said, "Look, I did it. I'm sorry." And not only was he welcome back, they let him play again, and he was back. But yet the players who refuse to admit it, they're ostracized. So just admit it.
Yeah.
Admit when you did wrong. Especially when the evidence is overwhelming.
Do you remember the legs on those pitchers back in the day?
Oh, tree trunks.
Oh
yeah, Roger Clemens.
Oh, my. Dude, his hammies in the back? They were just... I mean, they had their own circulatory system in there, man. It was insane.
Yeah.
So let's hop away from baseball. Let's hop right into NBA real quick, and I don't want to spend a ton of time here, but the real season has just begun.
Yeah.
Because the All-Star break is over. We're in the home stretch. People are starting to angle for seeding in the playoffs, and they're making their moves with buyouts. Trade deadline is over. Things of that nature. So let's just revisit our picks really quick and let's talk about how we're feeling about them. I picked on the West the Clippers and on the East the Boston Celtics, and I picked a winner to be the Boston Celtics. I'm feeling really good about that still. I think that Jason Tatum has solidified that as his organization.
Okay.
I think that Gordon Hayward has continued to show that he's coming back from that injury. He's a year off it now, and I think he's come up in big moments. The other night they beat the Clippers in double overtime. George Paul wasn't in that game, but still a big victory for them.
Did you say George Paul?
Oh gosh, who is George Paul?
Exactly.
Paul George. Man, I'm all kind of whacked out. Jeez Louise. Paul George was in that game, and I think the health of that hamstring is a concern for them long term because it seems to be re-aggravating him, which reminds me of the Chris Paul
there you go
issue a couple years ago.
Yeah, where there's not many players tougher than Chris Paul, but even he couldn't play through that.
Yeah, no joke. So
You're feeling good? Well, let me ask you this because I pulled up our predictions.
Okay.
And do you still feel good about your Western Conference final
Rockets?
prediction with the Rockets, despite they have no player over 6'5"?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
All right.
I mean,
I'm not mad about them trying something new. It's interesting.
Who did they just sign? Jeff Green,
and
they signed someone else who is another. I can't remember who the name is, but they just have two. They had two signings that are more 3-and-D type guys.
Yeah, they want to be able to switch on everyone, and they want to have the best transition offense and defense. And it's just interesting because I remember watching their first game when they did the trade, when they traded Capella away, and they were playing the Lakers. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
I'm watching TNT, and TNT has got two pretty big names, and they're both big guys on each end with Shaq and Charles. So of course they hate this move.
Yeah.
Because they're big guys. So they hate seeing a team move to all little guys, and they were shredding them, saying, "No, it's never gonna." And then they go out and beat the Lakers that night, which. It's kind of wait till you see it in the playoffs for me because I think teams are going to figure out how to defend a constant small lineup, and how to attack it as well. But it's interesting. I like the fact that they're thinking outside the box. Kind of reminds me of the Ravens, what they did with Lamar Jackson and going completely outside the box and going all run heavy. So
what I think it does is I think you'll notice that it unlocks Russ to me because that transition focused game, whether it's offense or defense. When he is running, he's like a Lamborghini, right? Like, he's got to work hard to move slow.
Yeah.
When he's running full speed and not thinking but reacting is when you get Russ.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that is another big thing that it does for them as a team.
Yeah, and Harden can play any system.
Yeah, exactly.
Russ is more limited than Harden.
Right.
You can play Harden in any system, he'll be fine.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So what about your picks? How you feeling?
Well, I got Lakers and Clippers matching up, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. I mean, I think you can agree that that's pretty good, pretty safe pick, and I may have went safe, but honestly, I still don't see any team beating either one except for each other in a 7-game series. I just don't see how you do it unless there's injuries, like you said, the Paul George injury that's lingering. That could be a factor. The one thing I'll say is I was disappointed that the Lakers didn't make a move at point guard.
Yeah,
I know they were trying to court Darren Collison. They brought him to a couple games to try and get him out of retirement, which I think would have been big time because I thought they were going after Derrick Rose. I thought somebody would get Derrick Rose the way he's playing.
Apparently, the Pistons wanted a first-round pick, though.
The Pistons, you know what?
But at the same time, if you're in the championship, how much is the last pick in the first round worth in the NBA?
Yeah, it's not worth a lot, but sometimes you can get a third team involved where you can get their pick.
Right.
There's creative ways to do it in the NBA, especially where you can get 3, even 4-team deals where you can get that pick you desire that team might not have.
Do you think at that moment right there, we're starting to see the lack of experience when it comes to Rob Pelinka? I mean, he missed out. Think about it. He missed out on Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
They weren't able to get Collison, and the Clippers just picked up Reggie Jackson on a buyout, who's not a great player, but Reggie Jackson is a solid player for your second unit.
Heck yeah.
Now, the only thing I would say about the Lakers that I think that people are forgetting, I know that he hasn't played well, but I never doubt until he proves me otherwise in playoff Rondo. In playoff Rondo.
Yeah.
Because he hits another gear. Rondo is, and this is coming from a person that has ADHD, he is clearly ADHD. If he's not 100% in, he's just not in.
Just defensively in the playoffs, it's like a different person.
Yeah.
I mean, he locks up the number, whoever the point guard is for the
Yeah.
opposing team. I agree. The only thing is I don't know how he fits offensively with them because of his lack of shooting ability.
Yeah, with him and LeBron on the court, it gets kind of stuffy.
How do you
in there.
space it enough to give Anthony Davis the space he needs underneath? I
Right.
don't know how, unless he can camp out in the corner and do just enough to keep you honest by
Right.
hitting a, maybe 1 out of 3. I think that could be tough. I think they need to pick up another ball handler, and I think they kind of messed up not doing so.
And the other thing that's not doing well for them right now is KCP is going into the garbage.
What happened to that guy? I think he was getting a lot of attention negatively by the fans during the beginning of the season. Excuse me, sorry about that. And I think that really affected him mentally. I mean, he was like a meme a lot of times. Like they were picking on him, and it seems to have really, really affected him. So.
But it is unfortunate for you that the Lakers didn't pick up anyone. Yeah, they
Why is
haven't
that?
picked up. Well, I
Because of my prediction.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But they still have two of the top 5 players in the league.
Undoubtedly,
I think.
right?
So
I mean, that's undisputed.
that's why I went with him originally, and that's why I'm going to keep going with him.
Anthony Davis is so good.
He's so good.
He's better than LeBron James to me right now.
Yeah, right now maybe.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying
Not for
LeBron
the
is
career.
prime. Yeah,
Yeah.
but right now his versatility is just.
But what he does on both ends of the court, even if he's not getting a block, the amount of shots he alters.
Well, and then the other night they had an overtime game. Oh, who were they playing? I hate that I'm blanking this. They had an overtime game, and he dropped 2 threes in overtime.
Yeah, back to back. Yep.
What game was that?
Oh man, they ended up winning by like 9 in overtime or something. I
Yeah.
want to say.
But it was a back and forth game, and those were huge buckets.
It
And for him
was.
to be that large and step out and give him the space and to just bang him,
Yeah, and I think if I remember right, they were both in transition where he was able to step right into them.
it was awesome.
So yeah, I mean, when you have that lineup, see, I think to me they go too big too many times.
Yeah.
With McGee and Davis.
Right.
I'd like to see him go a little smaller than that, and I think they will in the playoffs. I'd like to see Davis at the 5.
Yeah.
And LeBron at the 4.
Speaking at the 5, before we switch off for the NBA, I am loving watching Zion bully grown men.
Oh my gosh! Did you?
He is a
who was it
19-year-old kid.
Who did he just rip the ball out of their hands?
Oh, that was Giannis.
Yes.
And he just took it. And did you see what he was? So the PJ Tucker
Mm-hmm.
was guarding Giannis, and PJ Tucker's known for his toughness, for his
Yeah.
strength. He's built like a linebacker. He looked like a cornerback.
It's crazy.
I mean, yeah, it was literally one dribble.
On Zion, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one dribble, dunk.
It's
I mean,
unreal. And the motor he's playing with, he caught an alley-oop. I still don't know how he caught it. I mean, he's defying the laws of physics. And
the
in fact-
left-handed one.
Yes, where it looked like it was out of the screen.
Yes.
The whole thing, and I just can't imagine what he's going to look like a year from now. I mean, with an full off-season program, and he is a freak of nature. And a lot of people were like, when he was coming out of college, they were saying, yeah, but everyone's big and everyone can jump. Not like this guy.
Yeah.
He is a different type of person.
And I'm glad he shoots the 3 because just the fact that he's psychologically able to shoot it and not care about the results. Obviously wants it to go in, but he's not.
He's not Ben
overthinking.
Simmons.
He's not Ben Simmons.
He's not Markelle Fultz.
Right. So anyway, I was really happy about that. But
But before we move on from that, we have to touch on
oh, here we go.
my Rookie of the Year prediction, which was John Morant.
Oh,
And is he making me look like a genius?
he is, dude. You bought when that stock was like moderate.
Yep.
And that thing is
It's
high.
exploding. But I'll tell you what, ESPN seems to me like they're really pushing to get Zion Rookie of the Year. Is it not?
Yeah. Do you know that? So I have on my Apple TV on the ESPN app. I don't know what channel this is on ESPN, but it just gives me. I can watch the game live. It has like layup lines and stuff like that. So different camera angles, right? A lot of them are stupid. They have a Zion cam.
Where it's just always on him.
And you can't even see he's on the bench. The camera's on Zion.
Wow.
I mean, it's just zoomed in.
Was he sleeping?
Well, this was his first game back. So
I love how they caught him twice.
Oh my
They
god.
caught him once, and then 3 days later he was sleeping again.
Jeez. Well, you know what though? Those training days
Oh,
are
I'm sure
long
he's
and hard.
And it's not like he's doing this in the first quarter. They're catching him in the 4th.
Right.
Yeah, they're catching him snoozing in the 4th.
All right. Well, he's in church, man. It's
That's
like,
all it
sometimes
is.
it's just hard.
But yeah, I mean, but what John Morant is doing, and really what the Grizzlies are doing overall, has been very impressive. So
Him
yeah.
and Steph going at it.
Oh man.
Social media.
I don't like how he was getting on Iguodala, but I can
Yeah.
see why they're a little pissed at Iguodala.
Yeah.
The way he's acting. I mean, because he clearly didn't want to be there. He didn't believe in any of them guys, and it rubbed him the wrong way. So I kind of like, but I like also that Steph came out and supported him. So
Yeah.
I'm cool with it either way.
Yeah, for sure. So let's move on now to
Mhm.
the NFL,
All right.
and we're creeping closer to our Ravens. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, do you want to give some airtime to our O's?
Oh yeah, they're back in camp.
Yeah.
It's probably we're probably looking at another season where it's not going to be. We're not going to be competing for the pennant. We're not going to be fighting the Yankees for supremacy in the AFC.
We're
the
not?
AFC.
Oh gosh.
Holy smokes! No, we will not. We will be again at the bottom of the barrel, but that's okay because this is a process, and we have some hope down on the farm.
But hopefully, our process doesn't involve cheating.
Yeah, I was glad to hear Mike Elias was completely cleared during the investigation process because at that point I believe he was the director of player development and scouting, so he wasn't involved in game day activities.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, because that guy's got the keys to our franchise, and we cannot afford to have him suspended or in any way implicated with the cheaters that are the Astros. So, yeah, but no, I'm just excited that baseball's coming back because the thing about baseball is it's there for you every night.
Yep.
When you get home and you're tired and you want to relax, that game will be on TV.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare that it won't be.
And it will put you right to sleep. If you got trouble sleeping,
Come on, man.
there no nose, baby.
Come on,
But
man.
no, I'm excited
Hey, no,
about it
that's
too.
honesty. You know what? I'm not.
I'm excited about it too. I'm excited to go to a couple games, enjoy Camden Yards.
Yeah. It's
Just
still the most
environment.
beautiful stadium
Yeah.
in all of baseball.
Firework night on Friday nights is going to be back soon.
Maybe I'll get my son to run the bases this year. I always avoid it because I don't like lines.
Right.
And when I go there, the line is unbelievable.
Well, they have that like dugout kids or whatever.
He's a dugout kid.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we go to the dugout games, but the people get in line so early. Like, they're not even watching the game. They're already in line. So by the time you go out there, the line is down. I said, hey, son, we'll go run the bases at the local high school. Sorry, man.
You got to work on his vision, his ability to visualize what
That's
he wants.
it. That's all. You know?
You got to keep him hungry.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited about the Orioles. I'm just excited about just having them back. I mean, I know they're not going to be very good, but let me tell you this: they can't be as bad as they were last year.
Yeah.
So at least
hope
there's
not.
that.
Right.
And I like Nick, our old fave, Nick Markakis.
Yep.
Did you hear what he said?
Yep. Loved it.
Talk about coming out strong against the Astros.
It's
Somebody
just
maybe got
weird. He looks
beating.
slimmed down,
He does look trim.
like in the face and stuff, and like
He's looked like that for the past year and a half, 2 years now. Where he
because I know he
is
was
it the beard?
when he shaved his head,
Maybe it's just that.
but he was also one of those guys that was very against the steroid.
That's
And,
true.
and he said, "Look, I could have been juicing when these other guys were juicing. I had plenty of opportunities to,
Yeah.
and that could have taken his career in a whole different path. I've always liked him because of that integrity piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Even
know?
though he's had injuries, that
Right.
neck thing and all that, and
And he had wrist problems, didn't he, as well?
Yep, and he's never. Yeah, he had that broken bone. Remember during our last big playoff run?
Yeah.
It was devastating to a guy who went through all those terrible years, and then when the
Right.
payoff finally came, he got hit by a pitch. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Baseball's back.
Yeah, it's back in all of its glory.
Yeah, so we're gonna be getting more into that once it heats up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into the NFL now, which is the best reality television.
There is no off season.
There is no offseason. We're learning that as podcasters.
Yes, and I've known that for a while because no one dominates the news like the NFL.
Right.
I mean, they can have a headline take over an NBA Finals game.
Right.
Oh, just a headline. They're not even playing.
I felt like, though, there might be, as we were doing this show, I thought, there might be a couple weeks that are, like, slow or, like, we'll have to, like, really put some content together. Not a single
Well,
one.
the NFL they're doing a good job at spacing it out. They make sure there's always something going on.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you what, though, the only thing I do wish happened, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I know this for a fact, free agency happens before the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of would like to see that. I know that
Flip flop.
Yeah. I would like to see
I guess
that.
either way. I know the Ravens like to shore up their roster
Before going into the draft.
that way they don't feel hamstrung. But
I feel like if they did the draft, so I feel like if they did the draft before
Mhm.
free agency, there would be more like in draft trades and like there would be a little more drama. Maybe that's just a little like the NBA. I feel like has that. There's a ton of trades that are happening during the draft and the NBA draft.
Yeah.
Now, even still, the NFL draft is way more popular than the NBA draft. But still, just to have a little bit more of that. But anyway, let's talk about the NFL and a couple major headlines. And we're going to be introducing a new segment.
All right.
Feet to the fire.
Woo-hoo.
You hear people say that, but we are putting each other's feet to the fire today. We're going to be talking about a couple things.
It gets smelly in here.
Burnt flesh. So first thing off the bat, Tom Brady.
Yes.
Recent reports that the Raiders were thinking about 2 years, $60 million with some ridiculous amount of that guaranteed.
Probably all of it.
Yeah, probably all of it.
I wouldn't. I mean, yeah.
And he probably wouldn't leave without all of it being
No.
guaranteed, right?
No.
I'm not even walking in the door unless that's guaranteed.
That's
and,
right.
and then of course the Patriots recently comes out that it's looking like they're letting him know that they're going to be retooled and reloaded.
Yep.
So that way they're giving him some reassurance, and I think that's what he's really looking for. But Glenn, feet to the fire. Brady, is he leaving or is he staying?
He's staying.
Wow.
I've been saying this from day one. There's no way he leaves. Why? What are you gonna? I mean, I see some arguments with the weather. He could go to a place where it's a little warmer, or maybe a dome stadium. But look, when you're the GOAT, which he is. I mean, let's call it what he
clearly.
is. You don't want to mess up that legacy. I love how Montana came out and said, "Don't leave, Brady," because he regretted. I don't see many people who are in his situation where they are happy after they left, like where they're like, you know what, that was a good decision. I should have done that.
But what about how much credence do you pay to the idea that people have said part of the reason why he's looking into it is because he wants to live out from under Belichick's thumb, right?
But
like
when I just called him the GOAT, you quickly agreed.
Yeah, I mean, because it's
So
as
what
much as
more?
it pains me to say,
Exactly.
but I still wonder. Maybe none of that bothers him, but I wonder if some of that bothers him. I wish I could get inside his head to see what that conversation he has with himself is like.
Yeah.
I wonder.
I guess it depends on how big his ego is, which everyone in the NFL and pretty much everyone in general has some ego.
Sure.
And I'm sure a player like him who's reached that kind of success has got to have a pretty decent sized ego, but he's also pretty bright, and he's got to know, I got it pretty good here.
And he does, for his being the GOAT, he does have, I hate giving Tom Brady praise. You
can be honest, though.
But he does have a certain sense of humility on the football field. Where, what I mean by that is that he allows Bill Belichick to correct him when a lot of leaders that can't even strap up Tom Brady's boots, they don't allow their coaches to do that.
Yeah. And I think he spoke to that's something very key to the team in general. If your best player can take coaching and take criticism, then it just filters
everyone else
down.
falls in line.
Exactly.
Right. So you're saying he's staying?
He's got to stay. Of course, I like I mentioned before, I never thought LeBron would leave Cleveland a second time, and I couldn't have been wrong there, more wrong there. So, look, I'd be stunned if he left. Stunned.
Well, I'm telling you right now.
Uh-oh.
Be stunned.
No way.
He's not coming back.
Oh, my gosh.
He's not coming back because they're not going to be able to lock up the weapons like they think. I think that a 43-year-old Tom Brady is less appealing to free agents than a 28, 38, 39-year-old Tom Brady. I think this year, unfortunately, was the last tape that we have of Tom Brady. And I'm not saying that he's lost any of his
bad.
No, but they as a team.
Yeah, the cast around him looked bad.
Right. And so I think that if I'm AJ Green or, a multitude of other guys, I'm looking at Lamar. I'm looking at, Patrick Holmes, their cap situation is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at some of these young guns coming up, the Texans. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah. But this is the Patriots. It's not like they missed the playoffs. Yeah, they got upset early, but actually they did miss the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, what am I thinking?
Yeah.
But they do have a great defense, right?
Yeah.
They do. They do have a great defense. They got the best coach, what most people say the best coach of all time. So that right there is pretty attractive. So if they can get their offensive line and add a weapon or two on offense, I don't know. Would you be? Who's going to win their division next year?
Obviously,
they have the easiest division.
If
in sports.
anybody else wins, it's an absolute shock, right?
So that's got to be tempting, knowing you're going into a situation where you're almost guaranteed the division.
Yeah,
that's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you really buy into what Buffalo's doing.
But no, I don't. But if you're younger, right?
Mhm.
So like if you're in your early 30s, like I keep referring to AJ Green, I think he's what 32, 31, 32, something like that. Yeah. So he's not in the twilight of his career yet.
As a receiver, he kind of is.
The twilight of his career?
31.
I think he's in the back nine, but he's not in the twilight yet. I think
maybe
the twilight
remember,
would be
he
like
missed,
34, 35.
You're out of the league at 34, 30 as a receiver.
No, I mean, Steve Smith was what, 37 pushing 38?
He's a freak of nature.
Yeah, but AJ Green's got to be everything that he is. When you're talking about athleticism and
would
freaking
Steve Smith have missed the entire season last year with the exact same injury that AJ Green missed all of last year?
No, of course not.
He would have been playing and he would have been mauling people.
That's true. But I mean, the great ones do last a long time.
They do, yeah, that's true.
So wherever you are, I just feel like if I'm him, I would be nervous to, hooking my cart to that horse that's going to be 43. I would just, it would be hard for me to get over that.
Yeah, I see your point.
I don't know. So I'm interested. I think he's going to leave. I think he's going to the Chargers.
I think if he's going to leave, I think he should go to Indy. That's me.
Indy.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the next guy,
Okay.
Philly Riv.
Yeah, so
He's absolutely gone. We know that.
he's definitely gone, and I just said where I think Tom Brady's going to go, and
So feet to the fire. If Tom Brady leaves, he's going to Indy, right? But you don't think he's leaving. So Indy's still an option. Where is Philip Rivers going?
he's going to Indy, and this is why. They run almost the identical system offensively, so it would be an easy transition for him. And they have maybe the best offensive line in football, which has got to be attractive to a guy who does not want to take too many hits. And they still have a pretty good receiving core. So, and look, they were good with. I mean, I guess do you like Brissett?
I mean, he's the best backup in the league, maybe.
Okay, yeah, but he's
worth
not
7 to 12 million a year. He's making like 15 right now.
Yeah, so he's not a guy where you can give the keys to your franchise to, right?
But do you think Philip is that much of an upgrade based on the last thing that we saw?
Yeah, that's tougher because where we were looking at Tom Brady, I didn't see much of a physical drop off. I mean, he's never been very flight of foot, and to me, he still has enough zip on it. Whereas Philip Rivers, we saw some struggles.
Other than his offensive line not being great, he has weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a plethora of weapons out there.
Yeah, I mean, certainly with Melvin Gordon holding out, that hurt. Henry, he got hurt.
And isn't Eckler even a free agent?
He is, and he was a heck of a player.
Come on over, my man.
I know, right? Well, hey, look, we got Justice Hill.
Wait. So anyway, you're saying Indy. I'm saying Tampa. If you put my feet to the fire right now, I think he's going to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, he has a home in Florida. He's a Southern boy. He's from the South.
Yeah.
I just think
something
that him
about
and Bruce,
Tampa, though.
But him and Bruce, I think, are going to hit it off. They got that
They got amazing receiving core.
Yeah,
probably the best in the league, right?
Right, and I think they both have a little bit of that boys club camaraderie. Like 90s football mentality, a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think that they're going to hit it off.
It's possible.
So I
wonder about that offensive line, that run game. To me, the thing that's so tempting
he can
is
just bring Eckler with him.
Yeah, he's going to bring an offensive line. Of course, he didn't have much one in San Diego, but I think that offensive line. I mean, we saw it with the Ravens when they solidified, when they had all five of those guys playing well.
Right.
They were pretty unstoppable. So,
right.
Oh, and I just saw this pop up. I mentioned to you that the former Browns offensive lineman Greg Robinson, number 2 pick, was arrested for marijuana at the border. Yeah, he had 157 pounds of marijuana on him at the Mexican border.
So he was starting an empire.
So clearly going to get him for intent to distribute.
How much is 157 pounds? Like,
it's 157.
Space-wise.
Oh,
I'm saying, like, how much weed do you need to have to... Like, a pound of weed has got to be like a shoebox,
Yeah,
right?
I was saying like 157 shoeboxes, yeah.
How did you expect to get that across the border?
Yeah, well, he's obviously not the brightest bulb. So he's looking at 20 years in prison.
Why? Why?
So dumb. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, yeah, he should have stuck to the NFL, but yeah. So anyway, we got kind of distracted there.
Well, let's stay on offensive line then.
Okay.
And let's narrow it down to the Ravens here.
All right.
So now let's just get into our Ravens talk. There's plenty of other stuff we can talk about.
Okay.
And if you have anything else, national headlines that you want to talk about, but nothing that I can think of that's like as important.
We can jump back into it.
Yeah, later on.
Yeah.
So Marshall Yanda.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to retire or is he not? I'm telling you right now, I have no fear of him retiring.
Really?
I think the longer he waits, the better it is for us. I don't have any concern.
Because if there's,
right now, I think that he's the type of guy that would give the franchise as much of a heads up as possible. He would want to be as clear.
But then why not come out and say it now that I'm staying?
He's not 100%, but
Okay.
I bet you that he's at least 80. And I think he does want to see how his body feels.
Yeah.
He's going into this offseason healthy. He had the time of his life
He did.
last year.
He did.
I have no fear that Marshall Yonder's retiring.
Well, I certainly hope you're right. I have fear.
Okay.
And I only have fear because of his importance to our team.
Right.
I have fear because I just hope to heck that we can hang on to him. I mean, he's so important to our team.
For bringing along the young guys, and obviously he's a great player himself, but the mentality that he instills in the young guys is impressive.
The toughness. You need to have that guy on the offensive line. You know, we had Jensen for a little while when Yonda was dinged up, where he was the first guy to come running up if somebody was, laying on one of our players too long or taking a late hit on somebody. He was the first one to come clear that pile and defend his guys. So you need that guy. I look on the offensive line, Orlando Brown, not the nastiest guy.
No. He's
got a lot of physical ability, not the nastiest. Stanley, not a real nasty guy.
And he's more of a finesse guy anyway. He's not going to beat you with just straight power.
Exactly. And then you look at if we bring back Skura. And so to me, Yonda's that only dog, that guy that just, man, defensive linemen are just tired of dealing with him. You know what I mean? Over the course of a game. So to me, it's more than just, he just brings so much to the locker room, to the, the experience where he can just give wisdom to the guys around him. It's more than just the fact that he's probably the best guard in football, which is pretty good in itself.
Yeah.
So I hope he comes back. I lean towards him coming back, but I'm only at like 65%.
So you're going, though.
Then I think he'll come back.
All right.
But part of that's probably just because
it's hope, right?
Yeah, it's optimism.
Now, the way that you're describing Yonda, I think it's interesting because people have talked about players embodying the city and the surrounding area and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people talk about players we've had in the past, Ed, Ray, things like that. I think that when you take a good look at it, Yonda has to be in that conversation as the guy that embodies the city of Baltimore and the surrounding area the most on the football field.
Yeah. Talk about a guy who
he's tough.
Comes to work.
Right. He's a lunch pail guy.
Yeah.
I love that about Marshall Yonda. I think that's why, like you said, that's why the people love him as well.
Hey, look, my dad named his dog Marshall. Okay? So that's his favorite player. So, he gets love from old school, new school, no matter what.
Yeah.
Look, and he admitted that this offense, it's a blast to run block all day. You don't have to worry about pass block where you're letting the defensive lineman run and smash into you. They want
to be the aggressor.
Exactly. He likes delivering hits. So I think that there's a good chance he comes back because of the fact that the offense is so good. He knows that we were this close. We kind of have a little bit of untapped potential with all the young guys that participated and certainly performed well. So I think he's going to come back, but I'm not as confident as you, but I'm glad you are.
Yep, I'm helping you out.
Well, let me ask you about another offensive lineman.
All right.
Because Ronnie Stanley was an all-pro player last year.
Yep.
He really kind of blossomed into the player we were hoping when we drafted him, number 6 a few years ago?
6.
He's going into his last season. So let me ask you, with the aggression that has been shown by Eric DaCosta in getting guys getting guys signed to contract extensions before they hit the market, will they do the same with Ronnie Stanley and make him the highest paid left tackle in football? Because that's what it's going to cost you.
Right.
It's going to cost you.
It is.
You're an all-pro.
Right.
So, will they sign Stanley to an extension this season or off season?
They will.
Okay. You don't sound happy.
Well, the thing is that it's crazy. It's one of those things where we finally have money, right? And I've been in situations in my life where I feel like I got a little bit of money, and I know I'm gonna have
What's
to
that
spend
like?
it. Get out of here!
Can you explain that to me?
All of us get tax returns. Okay, we all know we get a little bit of money, and
I'm getting a ping pong table.
And we're like, okay, and you have the devil on your shoulder. It's like, I'm about to blow this money. I'm about to get this, and this. But then you're like, okay, what I really need to do is I need to get some new tires.
Yeah.
I need to fix this.
Tune up.
Yeah, it's like, gosh, and then before you know, your money's gone, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to do a mix of both to keep your sanity, I think, right? So with him, I want us to keep him, and obviously, I believe that in our off-season needs, So we need to come out of this offseason between the draft and free agency, solidifying or knowing that we have the best, doing everything we can to have the best offensive line of football, because I think with our quarterback, running backs are inexpensive. I think if we can have the offensive line, quarterback, and running back taken care of, all the other receivers, whatever, but we're always going to be competitive. Not saying we don't need receivers, but to me, everything is offensive line trumps everything except obviously Lamar.
Yeah.
So we need to do it. Will we do it? Yes, but I don't want to eat up all that fun money that we have. It's, you know what I mean?
You want to have a cake and eat it too, basically.
Yeah, just like everybody else, right?
No, I mean, you're right, but that's the problem. If you have a great player, it's going to cost you.
So what do you think?
I think they do sign him. I think he's shown durability. He's a heck of a locker room guy. He's the kind of guy that shows up for every one of the off-season programs. If you notice that the Ravens players will have patches during training camp, he has all the patches. He's a guy who leads by example. And look, he was an All-Pro performer. And
he could be that, from offensive line standpoint, Marshall could, once he does retire, kind of pass the torch on to Stanley and say, hey, run the ship. This is your squad. This is your starting five now,
Yeah, and he's the kind of guy that just wants to get better. He's not going to rest on his laurels. He's not going to get paid and then stop working. He wants to be the best in football. So he just fits us too well. I can't imagine us getting rid of him and starting over from left tackle, knowing how hard it is to find an offensive lineman to be, that can perform at that level, much less a left tackle. I mean, we see around the NFL, offensive line is it seems like the hardest position to find quality depth at.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. We're going to talk about Judon in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Out of curiosity, we'll say theoretically that both get large deals.
Mm-hmm.
Whose deal is bigger?
Oh, that's a good question. Because traditionally, left tackle used to get paid like second most behind quarterback. But pass rush is starting to kind of creep up. Oh, man. I'm going to go Stanley, only because I think Stanley will be the highest at his position in the entire league, whereas I don't think Judon will outrank Clowney.
Right.
And I think he'll be a little bit behind Stanley, but not by much.
Right. Well, let's get into that. Judon is a talking point of this offseason. He's going to continue to be. There's a couple different scenarios that we're facing right now. Of course, we could tag him. That figure would be 16.3, which is
not that bad, but it's
not that bad. But that's like a 16.3 rental for 1 year.
Yeah.
That's not the worst thing in the world.
No.
But and of course we could trade him after the tag.
Mm-hmm.
So we could tag him and then trade him like with the Chiefs did with D Ford, and they got what
second round pick. Yeah.
Yeah, and we know how the Ravens value draft picks.
Yeah.
It's like
cheap labor.
The Ravens are on one end of the spectrum when they value draft picks, and the Rams are on the other.
Right? It certainly looks like it. They are in cap hell.
So tell me your thoughts on Judon. You, if for our listeners that we've had, seem to be more of an advocate. Not that he needs any advocating, but you seem to be in the camp of signing him, keeping him, because who else do we have?
Yeah.
I seem to be. I'm nervous about signing Matt Judon.
Yeah.
I am. Like, that's. I'm nervous about committing that long-term money to him.
Right.
Because a middle linebacker named C.J. Mosley got $51 million guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a middle linebacker who customarily gets paid less than an outside linebacker.
Yeah.
Just those numbers to one player in general that's not a quarterback freak me out.
Yeah, it's insane.
So what are your thoughts? Have you changed at all? You still feel the same?
Well, my whole point from the beginning has been, if you can upgrade at that position, then I'm not stuck on Judon. But what I don't want to see is us let Judon leave, and then we come back with just Bowser and a bunch of young guys.
I wonder.
That's what scares me.
Yeah. Do you think there's any way? Say we go out there and we get Clowney, right? We're aggressive. We get Clowney. Do we also then have the money, and would it make sense for 1 year? You tag Judon, you got Clowney on a long-term deal. Do you see? We're going for it. We got this space.
Yeah.
Right. We got this time.
The only reason I think they would hesitate to do that is because of that new rule where cap leftovers roll over to the next year.
Okay.
So it's not like in previous years where whatever you don't spend to the cap is just wasted because the next year it doesn't matter. So I think and every team is more they're going to be more likely to hold on to that extra cap space because they can use it in future years. But listen, if they can't get Clowney, then they better bring Judon back. And look, I'm more leaning towards the tagging him, at least for 1 year.
Yeah.
It's $16 million, which is he's going to get paid more than that if he leaves. He's going to get paid more than that annually if he leaves. So it just makes too much sense. And then if you do tag him, like you mentioned, if a team wants to throw us a second round pick, or a second and a 5 or something like that, then we might want to say goodbye. But you don't want to come back with no pass rush. Look, Judon might not have put up the numbers that everyone's saying, but I just read a stat earlier, and I can't find it right now, but I believe Judon was 4th in the league in quarterback hits. So he might not be always getting home.
Pressures or hits?
I thought it was hits.
Hits, okay.
So he might not always be getting home, but he's getting to the quarterback, and even if he's not getting the sack, he's probably making that quarterback maybe get it out a little sooner.
Oh, yeah.
He's affecting the play.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to see. Now look, I'm not stuck on Judon. If they can get a better player at the same or even maybe a slightly above cost with a Clowney, I'm fine with that. I just don't want to see him go, yeah, we're too scared to give Judon the money, so we're going to let him leave, and we're going to come out with Tyus Bowser and a bunch of young guys.
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to go on a limb. If we get Clowney, we will absolutely franchise
and bring him
Judon and make a run at it, have the 2 edge guys. Because this thing about Judon is that how much better would he be if he were your number 2 pass rusher?
He was your bat. I mean, we saw that for a couple years with Suggs, and he was pretty good, and he's only gotten better every year. So
we're going to
go certainly be interesting, man. I mean, that would be...
If we get aggressive with Clowney, and then because we can get aggressive with it because we only got Judon on the books for 1 year.
Yeah.
He's not going to like it. Obviously, he wants that long-term security.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if he balls out, he's only going to get paid more in the next year. So it could be a
That's
win-win.
true.
So I'm going to say it. If we get Clowney, that's more of a reason to tag him.
That's a lot of money linked up to one position, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. But we got this window, man.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you because the whole important thing is winning a Super Bowl. Everybody, you don't want to mortgage your future like the Rams did. But look, if the Rams would have won that Super Bowl 2 years ago instead of losing, we probably wouldn't be criticizing them that much.
Right. Speaking of Rams, I think some airtime deserves to be given to Eric Weddle.
Shout out to Eric Weddle.
That's right. I just remembered that. So I just want to say happy retirement. Enjoy it. We're going to get you on the show soon.
Yes, we got to get that done, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're excited for that. Eric, don't forget me. We played church ball together.
That's right.
I had 17 points in one of the games that were on the scoreboard. And I shot it, and he was like, you know what he said?
What?
Kobe.
Oh,
he did.
Love it.
He said some Kobe. So, and I love that he said that he's a Raven before he's a Charger or a Raven.
And he's going to retire with us. That's so cool, man.
So
I mean,
awesome.
it just speaks to the Ravens organization. It's incredible. He was only here for 3 years. How long was he with the Chargers? Like 9?
9 years with the Chargers, 1 year. Yeah,
and I know they left on salty, kind of a salty note, but I don't know. I just think it's so cool that all these players like coming back and retiring as a Raven. It's awesome. So
and then the other thing, as far as Ravens notes go, Tony Jefferson.
Yeah, I like Tony.
Yeah,
I like Tony.
Good guy.
Heck of a leader. Love what he does and brings to defending the run game. But the NFL's changing, and Chuck Clark was flat out better in coverage. He was the best communicator on the back end. We found out, and he's cheaper.
Yeah.
So we're gonna miss Tony, but I'm sure he'll catch on somewhere. He's a young guy. He's only like 27, 28.
Yeah, he's 28. Yep.
So I mean, look, he's not gonna be without a job too long.
You know where he's going?
Where's he going?
No.
Where's he going?
He's going to the Rams, dude. He's just gonna fill in for Eric.
Well, they play slightly different positions.
Right, but I mean, one Raven out, one Raven in.
There you go.
That's what it's gonna be. So, anyway, as far as current Ravens and free agency, Michael Pierce.
Yeah.
As much as my dream of signing both DTs, you shut that down a while ago because you're right. I don't think anyone in history has ever paid for 2 nose tackles.
No.
So,
but we got some depth there. It looks like they're going to try and, they're kicking the tires on Hayward. No. Is it Hayward from the...
Oh, Hargrave.
Hargrave.
Yeah. And
From
that
the
dude is a
Steelers?
fire hydrant.
Yes. So you can find guys. I mean, look what they were able to do with Pecco and Ellis.
Jelly.
You can find guys that can complement, because Williams, especially this year, he kind of really showed out. I mean, he earned his money.
Oh my goodness.
He was getting some criticism early, and after Earl dug into him a little on that sideline, after he missed the Browns game, it was like a different player.
And I'll tell you what, I think that people, like Pro Football Focus and all these things and stuff like that, you have to look at what is in your proximity, right? Like they gave a ton of credit to Michael Pierce, but look who's next to him. Right?
Yeah.
On a large majority of these plays, he's got Brandon Williams right next to him.
Yep.
And so it's the same thing with being the number 2 pass rusher.
Yeah.
Right? Like, of course you're going to look good if the other guy's drawing a double team.
Yeah.
So I think, like you said, man, this was to me, his best career year, Brandon Williams was.
Yes.
And like you said, he showed that there's a difference between the two of them, skill-wise, strength-wise,
No doubt.
athleticism-wise. I hope that
And just commitment. I mean, we kind of forget that Pierce came in,
390.
and that was generous.
Yeah.
He was over 400, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked.
I mean, he was close to. He must have been close to having a heart attack. Like, what is his body fat, like mass, whatever index?
He's lucky he's such a natural athlete to be that big and to be able to move like he
But
does.
how hard is that
incredible.
on your heart?
Oh, it's got to be tough. But hopefully he learned from that mistake. And
Yeah, because we hope he does well somewhere else. But it looks like he's
because he's a heck
right?
of a guy. Yeah, it looks like I think Denver right now is really showing a lot of interest in him.
Well, that sucks for him.
Well, look, they could be bringing back Joe No,
That's another talking point. Joe could be back.
yes, his neck looks to be healed. I hope he hangs it up. But
Yeah, he's got so much money. Just
he's got this big family. He's probably still having kids.
right. Well, what is the movie Frozen? How's it go?
I don't know.
Let it go, let it go. Right, like just let it go, Joe. Like
Yeah, you made enough money, but hey, that fire's still burning. I wouldn't mind seeing him picking up like a backup job where you can
I
come
just
in.
don't see him doing it.
I don't
I
see
think he's
it
too
either.
prideful.
He is prideful.
Like Joe is
Yeah.
a prideful dude.
Yeah, but it depends on how much he wants to get paid. If he wants another paycheck, somebody will sign him to be a backup.
Oh, that's absolutely true. But if he wants to,
Or he just wants to get out of the house. All his kids.
yeah, he's been public about not liking not that he doesn't like being a dad, but he doesn't like the feeding and the
all
diaper
the
changing.
grind that comes as being a parent. Yeah.
So you're right. He might just be wanting to get.
Like, man, I gotta go to practice, hon. Like, you're not even on the team anymore. Like, I'm preparing. Yeah.
He's going to his country club.
Yeah, he's just sitting at the juice
He's
bar.
hanging out with Jaworski or whatever.
Jaws.
Yeah, they own a country or a golf course or a country club together. Or something.
Do they really?
Yeah, I think a couple of them. Him and Joe Flacco.
What?
They're business partners.
How did they get hooked up?
I think they're from the same area. Is what it is.
Pittsburgh, and I thought Jaws was from Philly, or he played in Philly.
Well, like the Autobahn, that New Jersey, Philly, all that's like
gotcha.
right
Okay.
there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's what I think. But yeah, so other Ravens news.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about there's so many mock drafts out there right now. It's kind of hard to keep up. But the one name I've been seeing pop up a lot lately, recently, certainly is going to be, what's his name? Queen is his last name. Let me just pull his name up here.
The LSU guy, right?
Yeah, LSU middle linebacker Patrick Queen. He's been flying around the foot. Everyone who's been watching him has been skyrocketing up their mock drafts. He started off much lower, but as these, it's funny. These pundits. I think I just read that Aaron Wilson, who I believe covers the Houston Texans for the Chronicle, I think it is. He's put out 24 mock drafts already, total.
So and they'll all be miserably wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean they could all be horrible. But when you see consistency, I will say that there has been a couple of times where they kind of nailed the Ravens pick.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see this Patrick Queen guy. He can run. He's an incredible athlete. He's got great balance. Stays off the ground. Gets off blocks well. Can cover as in the passing game as well as be a sideline to sideline linebacker that can help against the run. So this is what you need. You need a guy who can run at linebacker. I mean, we saw that was our biggest struggle really the past few years. That was the only knock on Mosley when he was with us, is that he just didn't have that sideline to sideline speed that you really need, and as well as in coverage when they would match him up against a running back or a tight end, he would tend to get exposed. And boy, did we see that this past year with Bynes.
Yeah.
How many times did they run to the edge and we just flat couldn't get there?
Right.
So we need to get a young, fast, athletic linebacker, and I think this could be it. But we're going to cover more of the mocks next week because this combine's coming.
Yes, I'm so excited.
It starts Sunday.
And you know what we're going to do? We're letting you know now.
Yeah, what are we doing?
The first night.
He's letting me know now.
The first night of the combine is on prime time at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And we're going to do the show watching the combine.
Watching the combine.
Yep.
Which I'm going to be distracted.
Yeah,
Now,
no,
what
we're
is
going to be giving you our live
Hold on.
reaction.
Now, is this what?
It's 7 p.m. on a Thursday, and it's wide receivers, quarterbacks, and linebackers.
I was just going to ask you that. That's perfect because
Yep,
we need a
it's
wideout.
wideouts and linebackers.
No doubt. So,
Yep.
yeah, we're going to get more into the mocks. We're going to be crazy in the mocks because that's a lot
And we're
going
going to make our own mocks. The other thing, too, is we want all of you guys out there, whoever wins.
Yeah. Oh.
We've got to figure this out, how we're going to do this. Because we've tried this to have consequences. Now that we're officially on YouTube,
Yeah.
we need you guys to tell us what our consequences should be.
And we can do visual consequences
Yes.
now, not just audio.
So I think the singing could be brought back.
Yeah, just like a close-up of your face
Yeah.
while you're doing it.
Yeah. I mean...
Or you can have to dress the part, like from the music video or something
gosh.
like that. Which, yeah, that could get interesting.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing a girl song.
Oh.
I mean, you might see me coming in here with some shaved legs. Like, what have I gotten myself into?
So let us know in the comments what you think we should do as our repercussion for losing in the mock draft and other things that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing these wagers all off season. It's all speculation.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. One more thing about Patrick Queen. Just by the way, because we know we need a guy who can cover.
Yeah.
He's never allowed a reception longer than 20 yards.
This is what I'm going to say about the draft. I want offensive linemen and offensive linemen and offensive linemen and offensive linemen.
Well, we hopefully only have 2 openings.
Sure. I want 4 to fill those 2.
What about wide receiver and inside?
I think all those things are important, but I just Lamar with an offensive line, like the best offensive line in football, is so scary to me.
Yeah. But
I agree
what
with you.
killed us?
We need other things. You're right. No, you're right.
We could not stop the run. Derrick Henry.
But what killed us was not, to me, that wasn't what killed us. Our interior offensive line, other than Yonda, was getting beat
It was getting bullied.
up.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Macari's
but the
not
good news,
cutting it.
Yeah, and the good news is, because I think we both agree we also need help at wideout.
Yeah.
But it looks like we're going to be able to get that help at wideout late in the draft. So, I
Or
think
free agency.
that too. If AJ Green, I know we both love AJ.
Yeah!
We're tired of seeing him do it again.
I know!
Let's see him do something for us.
Yeah, man. Well, I think, unless you got more, I think that's it for this episode.
Did you want?
Oh, we didn't do Terps. We did do Terps.
Yeah, we did do Terps. But
What?
you know what you forgot?
What did I forget?
Our sponsor.
Oh, jeez.
You know, we got to start putting this in writing. Because
I know.
This
Oh my
guy,
gosh. Look, how could I forget our sponsor? They are our flagship sponsor,
That's right.
Abacus Security at 610 Gus Ryan Street. Been in Baltimore City for over 75 years. Is hiring, ladies and gentlemen. Hiring. If you need a job.
All the time. On the spot.
On the spot. Same day interview.
I mean, if you want a job, you go down to a Bacchus.
You get a job.
You get a job. You get a paycheck.
Right.
You get to buy nice things.
If you want to work at a mall or at Harbor East or...
Hey, whatever you're into. But I'm telling you right now, if you need a job tomorrow, a Bacchus.
That's right. Go down 610 Gus Ryan Street.
I know a couple people working at Bacchus. My
So-
brother being one of them.
That's right. So you can go down there and have a same-day interview. Let them know 410 Sports Talk sent you in the application that you'll fill out online at abacusonline.jobs. There's a section where you can put in your reference. Please put in 410 Sports Talk, and we greatly appreciate it. But look, like Glenn said, you need a paycheck. Abacus has got a paycheck for you.
That's right.
They need security guards, whether you're new or experienced in the industry. Go down there if you're in Harford County, Howard County, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County, and of course Baltimore City. Head down, get yourself a job, and listen to the podcast.
Absolutely. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening.
Wherever you're listening. And find us on Twitter at 410_Sports Talk.
And at birdlandsports.com.
And birdlandsports.com. And use in the bio, we'll have our YouTube link.
Yeah, buddy.
So all of it. Get all of it.
Man, I'm glad I'm doing this intermittent fasting because now that we're on camera, I think it does add 10 pounds. I gotta be honest, because I had to go to the next belt loop, and I'm very proud of that. So, but I'm looking at this camera, my profile, and I'm thinking, I still got a ways to go. So we're gonna keep working.
Watch Glenn as he's going through this journey. He's going through this journey.
Yep. Soak it in, ladies and gentlemen. Soak it in.
Well, thank you guys. We appreciate it, and enjoy the show.
See you.